produced through a combination of genomics and biochemistry. The two canflavins were identified in 1985 when scientists proved they had benefits which could fight inflammation at a gram-for-gram rate of about 30 times that of aspirin. However, prohibitionist laws in Canada prevented further research into the potent anti-inflammatory qualities of the molecules. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Months after identifying the elusive Higgs boson particle, scientists at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland have announced that they've completely run out of things to do with their Large Hadron Collider.
We've tried some time travel stuff, but it doesn't really work. Black holes, but we already know like a ton about those. Last week we threw a bird in there. Honestly, we thought it would take way longer to find the Higgs boson.
Director General of CERN, Rolf Dieter Hauer, told reporters that while they, quote, might be able to figure out some more about quarks or something, for the most part, his team has spent much of the past year throwing pennies into the machine and turning it on to see if the pennies come out smushed.
We might just start building a larger hadron collider. Yeah, maybe a bigger collider for smaller hadrons or something. I don't know.
CERN has announced on their website that if anyone out there has any fun ideas for experiments, you can email them to ideas@largehadroncollider.com.
This is the Onion News Network. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here. The toll-free number if you want to get on the air on the radio here, the number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And here in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
And so welcome back to the program. This is actually my first live show in the main seat in like a week, because we went to more than a week, actually. We went to Vegas last week for a couple of different conferences, and so it's good to be back.
Yeah, I noticed you were not in the main seat the other day, and I was a little surprised. But
well, I'm usually not in the main seat on Thursday nights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chris Reitman is our main host on Thursdays.
Yeah, usually I've always seen you in the main seat, but when you've
Chris has been doing a good job. He's been doing a good job holding things down here on Thursday nights, and we had a good time last night. And hopefully we'll have one tonight. There's lots of stuff to talk about in the news. Coming up, a digital tax from Europe that is somehow affecting American companies. At least that's my basic understanding of what you told me.
Targeting American companies. Yeah. Europe is targeting basically for taxes. They're trying to extract money from the United States.
So that's on the way. You've got that story, Chris. Plus, in another tax-related news, a lot of people are talking about these Bitcoin letters from the IRS, and I have only heard the barest of minimums about this. I've had a couple people ask me if I've received one of these Bitcoin letters, and so is the idea the IRS is now threatening Bitcoin users directly? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, they're outright sending letters to what are probably Coinbase users entirely. I suspect it's probably entirely, at least at this point,
because
Coinbase
they went
users.
after Coinbase a year or two ago, and
they did. There was a previous story about how Coinbase was sued, and the judge basically said anybody. I think the amount was $20,000. Anybody who's done more than 20. Now I don't know if that was in a year or if that was like total.
Could have been aggregate,
right? But it was, I believe it was $20,000. Anybody who did more than $20,000
to purchase more than $20,000,
either
or sold.
I think it involved receiving, sending, or like a combination. So if you received more than $20,000, it would also, I guess, your name would be revealed to the IRS. But the good thing about that is that it also limits the number of people who are impacted. It appears to be about 10,000 people impacted.
Yeah, I heard it was 14,000, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a little over 10,000. Sorry, you're right. It was like 14,000, I think, or 12,000 or something.
I suspect I am one of those people. I know for
I'm
sure
sure.
I bought more
And
than that worth of
interestingly-
From Coinbase?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Interestingly about that, the Coinbase, the whole the letters, or in the article, it basically even says that the IRS, not only are they going to go send these letters out, but they've already got cases that they are developing to persecute people. Or well, they're going to use the word prosecute, but I would say persecute certain people on that list apparently. So if you are one of these people who have done millions of dollars in transactions, you're probably one of the people who are going to be targeted and not reporting it. So get ready, get your lawyer, get yourself a lawyer, and get yourself a what do you call that when you give the money to the lawyer? A
retainer.
Retainer. Yep. Put that retainer, because once they come after you, they're going to seize your money. They're going to seize your assets. So you want that money with the lawyer so they can't seize that.
Right.
Ahead of actually.
Well, what are they alleging exactly? I mean, what is the point of this letter? Is it to say you bought Bitcoin, you're a bad boy, or like you owe us money because you bought a thing? I mean, is that a?
Well, certainly buying a thing can't be a taxable event.
Right.
They have to show income to you, and buying things is just spending. The other thing
maybe
that
they're
will be
only
really
going
interesting
It's a threat.
is how do they show that you own Bitcoin?
I don't know.
The letters are a threat, is basically what they are.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they don't send out love letters.
Right. It's not necessarily that they are going to go after each individual, but certainly they are going to expect people to respond to these letters, and they're going to follow up on the letters. So they're going to, at a minimum, it sounds like they're going to, expect you to refile, is what the letter is demanding.
You've seen a copy of it?
I haven't seen a copy. I've read the article, but this is what the article says, and I believe this was quoted from the letters, because some people have received the letters.
So is the idea now? Look, I'm not a tax expert.
Neither am I.
I don't believe in paying a criminal enterprise that threatens and harms peaceful people, both here and abroad. So I object on moral grounds to government taxes, especially the IRS. But I've heard a thing or two. We're close to the Bitcoin world here on Free Talk Live. We love cryptocurrency. And so I've heard people talk about how they're trying to tax people for cryptocurrency. And I've heard the claim is that you're somehow supposed to track, and I don't know how anyone is supposed to do this. You're somehow supposed to track which Bitcoins you bought at which price and at what price you sold those Bitcoins. And if you made money, meaning the value of the Bitcoin went up in the time between when you bought and sold the Bitcoin, that you're supposed to report that.
Right. So theoretically, if you were to have an account and it had no money in it, and you were to buy Bitcoin, you would know the price at which you bought it at. And if you kept track of every time you either spent it at what price it was going for in the market, and then or if you sold it, you could potentially do that. The problem is that that's not really how cryptocurrencies are being used, at least not in the real world, unless you're solely an investor. So theoretically, if you're solely an investor, you can probably keep track to some degree. But if you're not, and you're simply a user, it's nearly impossible to do.
What if I've got some Bitcoin that was given to me, right? So a long time ago, we sold ads for Bitcoin. We still do here on Free Talk Live. So somebody gave me some Bitcoin for some work that I did. We did some advertising for them. Well, I mean, that I didn't pay for that Bitcoin. That Bitcoin was essentially worked for. What is the value of that Bitcoin?
And here's a good question.
And how do I determine? Hold on. How do I determine between whether or not, if it's all sitting in the same Bitcoin wallet, how do I know whether I just spent the Bitcoin? If I just bought at Hot Hogs today, as we did here in Keene, we went to our Bitcoin meetup here in town, and I bought some barbecue with some, in this case, Bitcoin Cash. But let's say I'd spent Bitcoin on that barbecue. How am I supposed to know whether or not that was the Bitcoin that I had received as a gift or in payment for a service versus what I purchased on Coinbase? I mean, is this even a possible thing to track?
I don't think it is in any real sense. Maybe if there was a wallet that somehow kept track of what part of the Bitcoin that you're sending out is what you received, but you couldn't do that in a kind of real manual fashion.
Right. Yeah. I mean to some extent, there is the ability, like you're saying, if there was a program that could, at a granular level, determine that could be figured out, but there's no wallet that exists that's like that. It just
It's just not how it
ridiculous.
works. So, I mean, basically what they're asking is, they're asking users to do the impossible, and now they're going to go after people at least who have any kind of large amounts of crypto.
So they're saying that, well, they don't ask, right? They're not asking anybody. They're telling you.
They're
telling
you to
this.
do something that you can't really do unless you have only ever bought Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency, held it in a wallet, and then at the same time when you go to sell, you've sold it.
Yeah.
And you've kept track in that sense. But there's no way if you've been adding crypto to that same wallet and spending it, there's no way to know.
Right.
So basically, they're treating it as if it's an investment, but we're not using it as an investment.
Right.
We're using it as a currency.
Right.
So I think there are going to be some very interesting cases that come out of this.
If somebody fights it.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to fight it in order to have an interesting case. And I don't even know. Like just because it's not possible doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to win. And that's the other thing to be thinking about.
Well, there actually is
the government asks for impossible all the time.
Yeah.
They basically use it in order to put their thumb on you and get you to do whatever the heck they want. Yeah.
Well, there is a principle of common law that they can't prosecute you in theory for failing to do something which is impossible. That has been.
Well, they're going to argue that it is possible, but you would have to be, a very, very technical, a lot of technical effort probably and energy would have to go into understanding exactly how the blockchain works. You'd probably have to be basically a programmer, and you would have to, go in and figure out like each transaction and figure out exactly what Bitcoin it came from. Like, I mean, what part of the Bitcoin that it was received that it was pulled from.
Difficult.
I mean, there's no way any sane person typical person who uses cryptocurrency as an end user would be able to do that.
Sometimes you can get the IRS to calculate your taxes. Maybe it would be interesting to say, okay, you do it, and then and then defend those numbers.
Right, but then again, they'd have to prove that you still have or sold the Bitcoin. They'd have to know what you did with the Bitcoin, and how are they going to know that unless you tell them? More coming up here, 8:55.
They just make it up.
450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
That's what's going to do.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Are you a prisoner? Are you stuck in a relationship where you're not allowed to do what you really want? Are you stuck in a job or business that sucks up your time and saps your freedom? That describes most men, but there's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, Mark at Free Talk Live.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Apparently, the IRS attempting to intimidate Bitcoin users. Now, we're going to get more details on this. We've been sort of talking generally about it, but you've got a story, Chris. We'll share that coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us here on the radio, you can bring up anything that you want. It's 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And speaking of cryptocurrency, Free Talk Live is brought to you by Edge Wallet. Secure your freedom with Great Wallet. It's a cryptocurrency wallet, multi-crypto. It supports the original Bitcoin, BTC, as well as Ethereum tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Stellar, Bitcoin Cash, and more. In fact, I heard they just added Ravencoin to the latest update on Edge Wallet. You can get it for iOS as well as Android devices. You can buy, sell, trade, and securely hold cryptocurrencies on Edge. Edge.app is their website. They've been building wallets since 2014. These guys are great, and it's a great wallet. It's the one that I use more than any other. It's Edge Wallet. Go to edge.app to learn more. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts, you can bring up whatever you want. Let's talk to Jeremy. He's in Arkansas, watching us on YouTube. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
I was confused on, what I'm not kind of new to the whole Bitcoin thing, and I want to know, how does it work? I don't get it. I just don't understand how. Is it a virtual thing? It's like an app?
It's a series of tubes.
No, it's a good question, and it's obviously we can't get into the engineering details, all the real details on how it works. But basically, it's a decentralized distributed ledger that's called the blockchain. Mm-hmm. That's what sort of backs Bitcoin. It's cryptographically secure. Yeah, you can't say that on the radio. Yeah, I kind of knew it was going to happen too, and I didn't really have to dump it, but I just did anyway because dude's a jerk. So he doesn't deserve to get that on the air. Anyway, but we can still answer his question. It's not a bad question.
We'll stand between you and the stupidity.
Yep. Exactly. Somebody's got to do it. So anyway, decentralized ledger, distributed. Decentralized meaning it's not all in one location. It's not stored. It's not a file stored on one server in one rack somewhere in a server room. It's on thousands of servers all around the planet. The entire blockchain, which is the history. It's a ledger, so it's got the history of every transaction that's ever been made the entire time Bitcoin has been in existence, which is now more than a decade. It started in early 2009. And so every single transaction's there. So you've got a full record of everything that's happened. Now, not all cryptocurrencies have a public blockchain. There's some of them that are privacy-oriented, like Monero, for instance, that you can't look at anything from the outside publicly. So it's not all the same, but Bitcoin's the original, and that's the one that he asked about. Distributed, so you've got decentralized. It's not all in one location, so it can't be, they can't raid one place. The government can't just go into a server room, take a rack out of the, a server out of the rack and shut this down, right? There's over 10, last time I checked, there were over 10,000 what they call full nodes. These are servers with the entire blockchain, which is now over 200 gigabytes of data on their machines. So it's impossible to take this thing down. Even if they had a multi-jurisdictional, multi-governmental task force trying to simultaneously raid, as many of these locations as possible, it's just not going to be possible for them to take down all 10,000 of these locations. So it's distributed, which is to say that, again, it's over a large series of locations. This thing can't be stopped. That's one of the most important aspects of Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's I think the way to kind of explain it to people is it's sort of decentralized is sort of like email. Email is decentralized, but your emails are only going to ever be on maybe one or two servers. Whereas if it's
they pass through different servers, don't they? The emails on the way.
It's usually going to go it's going to pass through router points, I guess, but
but
not
be,
really.
They can be sniffed out though because they're not encrypted generally.
Right.
It depends. In the general case, I mean, if you have a full mail server on your machine and the guy you're sending to has a full mail server on his machine, then you're and the MX records are set up that way, then you'll hit his machine directly. But most people go through at least one relay.
I see.
Right.
So you just upload your mail to your ISP and let them deal with if you're not running Linux.
The mail ultimately gets stored in basically one location or two locations. Because usually it gets stored in your sent folder on the person who's sending it, and then in a receive folder, an inbox on the received machine. But ultimately what happens is if those servers get knocked out, say the FBI raids, and they seize those servers, well, that email is no longer accessible anymore. With cryptocurrency, it's distributed, so you will have access no matter where, even if they were to seize your keys, for example.
Right.
You could still potentially access it using your private key from anywhere still.
So those are a couple important aspects about cryptocurrency. It was created by somebody named Satoshi Nakamoto. We still don't know to this day who that person or group of persons is. But when you look at Satoshi's writings, some would say that it's pretty clear that he's a liberty-minded person, that he created or she created Bitcoin.
I don't think there's any question about that. Wasn't it in the white paper even something to that effect?
Ostensibly, as I understand it.
I mean, I don't
think read the whole white paper.
I don't think there was any. I don't think anybody would say otherwise in regards to that.
And I really should read the white paper. It's kind of amazing that I haven't yet. Either.
Right, I haven't.
Right.
I love the product. I mean, I don't really need to know all the math behind how it works. But so his idea or her idea or whoever it was that this would help kind of undermine the old money financial system because. You no longer have to ask permission to engage in buying a thing or getting this cryptocurrency or sending the cryptocurrency from one person, one part of the planet, to another person halfway across the world. If I want to send a value, if I want to send Bitcoin to somebody in Africa, as long as they have the internet, I can send it to them. In fact, they don't even have to have the internet at the moment that I send it to them. So long as I know what their wallet address is, as long as I have internet, I can send them the crypto, and then when they get to the internet, they can check their wallet, and it'll be there waiting for them.
Yeah, effectively, it removes control from the banks and the government.
That's right,
and it puts it in the hands of the user.
Which is, it's important to stop for a moment and focus on that because that's really the paradigm shift here that is so critical. That for our lifetimes and our grandparents' lifetimes, and their grandparents' lifetimes. It's always been the government and the banks that have been in charge of money. And I don't know if it's Rothschild, but there's one of those, elite banker guys who was famous for saying, and I'm sure I'm just paraphrasing it, but, I care not who makes the laws, give me control of the money, and that's all that matters, basically. If you're in charge of the money system, you have the politicians in your pocket. You have control over so much. You can inflate the money supply, which is what we've seen with all government monies all around the planet. And so that's one of the things that Bitcoin is actually way better about than government money is the inflation rate is predictable with Bitcoin. We know that a certain amount of Bitcoin are going to come out every 10 minutes. There's, I think right now it's 12.5 Bitcoin. That's the mining reward. And right now Bitcoin's worth about $9,500 US per. So that's quite a large reward if you were able to find that what they call the blocks. So the miners look for the blocks that are part of the blockchain, and that's where all the transactions are recorded, and they get rewarded for that. So we know that over time more Bitcoin is going to come out, and we know how consistent and at what rate that's going to be. Whereas with politicians, We have no idea. We have no idea how they're going to turn on the printing presses and how much they're going to print out and how much quantitative easing they're going to do and who they're going to bail out. And we know they're going to. We just don't know at what clip.
$1's worth of politicians promise.
There you go. 855-450 free like freedom. You can join us here. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to SaveItPurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, more on this IRS threat letter that apparently is going to be going out to Bitcoin owners, or at least the people that the IRS believes owns Bitcoin. They have some records that they were given by the folks over at Coinbase, and this was, I don't know, like a year, maybe 2 years, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, there was a court case.
Yeah, there was a court case because Coinbase did fight. To Coinbase's credit, they did fight the IRS on this,
and they did win in some respects.
A partial win.
reprieve, some reprieve in terms of protecting their users.
Rather than having to turn over every user that has ever bought Bitcoin in any amount, they only had to turn over those who had purchased more than $20,000.
I'm not a fan of Coinbase, but I would say that they did do the right thing in this particular case, and least trying to hide or protect their users.
Yeah, they didn't just roll right over and just cough up their database.
And the other thing is, at least in the defense of the guys who started Coinbase, I mean, this was something all these businesses were started as hobbies, and so basically. And then you find out your hobby is suddenly $1 billion business, and you ask yourself, do I want to keep that, or do I want to let the government take it away from me? I'm going to say, I'm going to keep that. Now, maybe I'm going to sell it to some straight businessman who can run it so I don't have to be a part of it, but you really can't blame them for bending over. They always will if they pursue self-interest. If they don't pursue self-interest, then the government will take their stuff, and somebody who did pursue self-interest will be left standing in their place.
They'll put them in prison.
So really,
no, I never blame
the
a
only
business
solution is to have distributed exchanges that cannot be shut down because there's no there.
Well, see, I think this is, in some respects, is the difference between an activist and a business person. A business person says, "How can I make the most amount of money?" An activist is going to say, "How can I prevent the government from taking over?"
Yeah. And
Which may involve making as much money as possible for a while also, because the more resources you have to fight, the better fight you're going to put up.
I think Bitcoin started out more as a activist project, and the people who came on board later were in it for the money. I mean, it no doubt attracted people who were in it for the money.
Yeah.
And the people who are into crypto now, I don't necessarily think are I think there's a tiny percent of activists, but it's mostly people who are in it.
Yeah, it's gone more mainstream for sure. And I never blame a business owner for jumping through the government hoops. They do what they feel like they have to do to do their business. They are in business to satisfy their customers, to bring a product or service to the marketplace, and hopefully people will be happy with it and they can make money on it. Although that said, I do really love a business owner who also isn't afraid to do a little bit of activism. I love it when a business owner actually does, because a business owner is familiar with taking risk. And so when they are willing to put something on the line, in this case their freedom and their business and their license and whatever it is that they've built, to make a stand on principle, I want to support those people. I want to give those people my support. I want to give them publicity. I want to give them business if I possibly can, because I want to see them succeed. And of course, a great example of this was here in Keene, which is where we live. We're in Keene, New Hampshire, and there was a business, still is, called Pho Keene Great, and it is a pho noodle soup business that got a lot of publicity when the government came after them. The town government threatened them. It was in December of this year. They came after them after...
Did you say the federal government?
The town government.
The town government. Okay, that's what I thought.
The town government came after them over the name of the business and said, this is a offensive name. We need to talk. And this was after 8 months of the business paying the town rent, because they're renting from the town government. The town, the city of Keene has a large building in downtown Keene, and they had an empty space in it, and they were going to rent it, and were renting it to these folks. So after 8 months of collecting checks from this business, then they decided they didn't like the name. As they were about ready to open their doors and put up their sign, they objected at that point.
But the thing to point out, though, is their name was already on the legal paperwork.
That's correct.
From when they rented. So they had the opportunity to object then.
8 months of checks.
Maybe the person who took the initial application didn't have a sense of humor and didn't even see it.
Somebody didn't have a sense of humor, that's for sure, and they worked for the city. It was probably the city manager, because she was the one who called to threaten the owner. And of course, most business owners would have just said, okay, I'll do whatever you say, and they changed the name of their business just because the city gave them a tough time. In this case, this business owner did not just roll right over. And they did stand up for their freedom of speech, their freedom to name their business whatever they wanted to name their business. And they were willing to go head to head with the government about this if necessary. They were willing to go to court if necessary. Luckily, it didn't come to that because that business owner was willing to stand up. That made it so that people could get behind her. That made it so that she got publicity, getting even more people behind the business, getting news media to report on this, and making the government goons look like a bunch of thugs, look like a bunch of people that are just trying to lord over in this case, a business owner who hadn't even opened her doors yet and had spent however many thousands of dollars renovating the place and all that. And after a few weeks of international level publicity, the city completely backed down. They approved her sign permit, and she was allowed to put up her fucking great sign right out front of her business. And it was a tremendous success. So every now and then, when business owners really do actually go ahead and stand up for themselves, sometimes they win, and it's a real victory. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We got Paul in New Hampshire listening online. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, I actually have invested in Bitcoin, so I wanted to talk about my personal situation with it.
All right.
Also, with the last caller, I just wanted to say is a real penis.
Well, it didn't work for him, and it's not gonna work for you either. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Let me just explain, since I don't know, maybe these guys are new to the show. You don't understand how radio works. So just because you're watching us online on like Twitch or DLive, which is where we have our online video streaming at dlive.lrn.fm, for instance, you can watch for free there. Just because we're on those platforms doesn't mean we're an internet show. We're on actual broadcast radio stations. So if you had something intelligent to say, or if you actually had an honest question to ask, you would have your call heard by however many, I don't know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of listeners. I don't know how many people we've got out there listening in the radio broadcast audience, but it's a lot more than probably the 10 or 20 that are watching us on the video streaming platforms. But because you say things that you really shouldn't say on the radio, we have what's called a dump button, and it's a nice little piece of technology that's existed for decades. This is not new technology. It's gotten better over the years, but it's not a new idea. That basically we can just knock out several seconds of audio before it even reaches those stations' transmitters. So sorry, buddy, you didn't get anybody except those watching the video streams to hear you, and so you basically totally wasted the 40 minutes or however long it was that you sat on hold to do that. But it's not like you have anything better to do with your time. So, I would like
He waited 40 minutes for that?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. Oh, my God. That's longer than the line at Space Mountain. Space Mountain's way more fun.
Although I will say this, we do have open phones. We're open phones every night. But we're on the radio until 10 p.m. But tonight, it's Friday night, and so, Rich, you and I are going to be coming in a little bit later on after our radio show ends. We will be doing a internet-only version of the show, where if you want to say the thing that you said, we won't drop your call. You can say it, and we will sit here and listen and see if you have anything else to say after
Does
that.
anybody actually ever call in and do that on the after show? You know, and I wonder if that's because they're...
Well, without the FCC, where would the fun be?
Right. So in some sense, it's actually kind of funny in some sense that they do it on this show, because it's not really you're not doing it because of your own interest in censoring those words.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You're doing it because you don't really have a choice if you want to be on the radio.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a very popular thing with our program directors and the advertisers of those radio stations. So even if there wasn't an FCC, we may still end up
that's true.
doing it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, because, again, we're in a marketplace.
Yep, that's a possibility.
There's certain things that are acceptable in that market. Once again, 855-450-FREE. But if you do want to get on the air and say things you can't say on the radio, stick around on dlive.lrn.fm about a half hour after our radio show's over, so like 10:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. We got more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Message and data rates may apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, this may be the last time you ever have to worry about hair loss, because Bosley is the real deal. They're giving women and men their hair back permanently. Their real hair. All it takes to get started is a single text message. You'll get an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card when you text Titan11 to 85850. Bosley will show you, for free, how great your hair could look. You'll also see, for free, why you're losing hair and how to get it back. Women and men all over the country trust Bosley because they're America's #1 hair restoration expert. Ahead of the curve with the latest technology. And the best part? Bosley has permanent solutions to hair loss. You'll love what they'll do for your hair. So drop what you're doing long enough to send a text. Get your free information kit and gift card for $250 off by texting Titan11 to 85850. Don't forget, that's TITAN11 to 85850.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
Porcupine Real Estate.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We started out talking about cryptocurrency, and there's actually, I don't think we've even gotten into the
we haven't.
The details of the story about the IRS apparently sending out threatening letters to over 10,000 clients from ostensibly Coinbase, people who may have purchased or sold a certain amount of $20,000 perhaps of Bitcoin. So we can tell you more about that, but one of the things that is the problem with buying on sites like Coinbase is they are entirely governmentally obedient. They will do most of everything the government tells them to do. Local.bitcoin.com, on the other hand, has kind of made a name for themselves as the privacy exchange because the communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. And further, you can meet people in person with cash or use other dozens of payment methods to buy and sell Bitcoin Cash at local.bitcoin.com. Now, as Rich Paul learned this week, if you use something like PayPal and Venmo, and you cross whatever arbitrary thresholds they've set, they may close your account. In fact, I had my Venmo account closed last week, as I think you did as well.
Venmo and PayPal are gone for me.
Yeah, and that was like an 8-year-long PayPal account that you'd had, right? Like you'd had that for a long
I'd
time.
had it for a long time. I used it as a cab driver, took credit cards through it.
And just because you sold crypto, they got rid of you.
Uh-huh.
Right? So, there are other ways to buy and sell. Again, there's dozens of payment methods, but I think it's important to warn people that if you care about your PayPal account, you probably shouldn't use it at the very least, a regular basis. You might be able to get away with some irregular purchases.
Well, that's true, but let's talk about the flip side of that coin, too, which is in the process of losing my PayPal account, I made like $4,000 in a couple of weeks.
Sure.
So basically, if anybody wants to go out and make some money, selling on local.bitcoin.com is a great way to do it.
As long as you're willing to sacrifice
know that
the
you're
account.
selling your PayPal account.
Right.
And there are some newer services. See, the one thing that PayPal cited to me is that they were concerned about chargebacks.
Oh, because they actually called you, which was interesting.
Yeah, they actually called me. They asked me questions, and they hemmed and hawed for a while before they concluded. And that may be because it was an 8-year account that had significant business usage before. But at the and the thing is, their excuse was concern about chargebacks. To which I said, well, I've got a fund of 20% of what I've sold, which is expected, budgeted for chargebacks, basically. And so far, I've had 0 of them. So A, it's not your problem; it's my problem. B, I've got that problem well covered.
So you did dozens of trades without any single charge, not one chargeback.
Nope, not a single chargeback. I lost one. I got ripped off one time for $70 because it was the first time that I sent them a PayPal request and got the money back. And I saw the request, and for some reason it still said pending. And for some reason I saw paid, and I hit the button, and I was like, wait a minute, that wasn't paid.
Oops,
that was
too
the
late.
thing underneath it.
So a user mistake, sloppy
yeah, that
mistake.
was just me being sloppy. But I never did get a PayPal chargeback. I had a few people claim that I had that they had paid when they had not. At which point an arbitrator comes on, and this is over the course. This is an hours-long process. The arbitrator isn't just there to chat with you, But basically, the arbitrator would come on and he'd say, well, show us some evidence that you paid. And nobody ever responded to that. They just abandoned their claims at that point. And so they managed to lock my money up for 24 hours. But
you won the arbitration.
But I won every single arbration.
So you're happy with local.bitcoin.com. It's not PayPal's fault.
I love local.bitcoin.com. The only problem is, how do you move money? And right now I'm thinking Zelly is the most likely, and one of the reasons is because they don't even have a user interface where you can complain to Zelly about a transaction.
Really?
There's no such thing as report Zelly on user, and Zelly says only use this service with people that you trust, because we won't reverse your transactions.
I'll believe it when I see it. I hope that's true.
I believe it to the extent, and when I say to the extent, there are times, obviously, if the court... the court probably isn't going to order Zelly to do anything. If they come after money that's been transferred to you through Zelly, they're going to have to come to your bank with a court order that it be released to them to satisfy some debt or whatever. I don't think there's an easy way to do that. And I think Zelly was basically developed, at least partially, in response to the problem of reversible ACH transfers and putting something in between the two parties so that they're not reversible.
Yeah,
I think this is by design, because Bitcoin being irreversible is not a bug, it's a feature.
Right, and that is one of the other aspects we didn't talk about it when our earlier caller had asked.
It does make it
Bitcoin.
kind of hard. It can potentially make it harder to get if there's nowhere locally to get it.
Well, and the thing is, what's really needed, I think, is people who are selling for cash in person.
Oh yeah,
cash and anywhere, because and I was literally pricing this stuff 50% above Finex spot.
Wow.
So if
on
I
PayPal.
sold, on PayPal. So if I sold $300, if I took in $300 worth of revenue, I'd
Sold
put out
$200
$200,
Right.
and the other $100 went in my pocket.
Yeah.
You might not be able to do quite that well doing it in cash, but at the same time, it's a quicker and easier transaction. And
Well, on the other hand, though, Rich, if you're doing a cash in person, you're not going to have as much competition. At least with PayPal, there's several sellers right now on local.bitcoin.com that are willing to sell you crypto for PayPal. Whereas if you're in, whatever city we're talking about here, there may only be one or two or zero people who are willing to sell, because it's still a new site.
Pretty much, you see the Bitcoin vending machines, and you see a couple of people like me. But of course, if you're going to do this, there's a reason that check cashing stores have plate glass windows.
Sure, there's risk.
So
There's risk.
Consider it the same way you would consider going into the drug business.
Right.
You are pretty much, you can be assumed to be on your own, more or less, with the police.
Yeah, you've got to do take care of your own security, whether that's digital from online or in real life. And I hope that most people realize these things when they, you're dealing with cash. There's a chance somebody might want to take that from you. So you do have to be careful. There's no doubt.
Public spot. Lots of cameras.
Yeah, public spot, McDonald's,
bring that arm yourself.
If you can, not everywhere.
That's true.
It's not allowed everywhere.
Yeah, and what I would probably do, if somebody wanted to do a $20,000 transaction with me
in real life, you mean?
Take it to a bank.
In real life, in cash, then chances are what I would do is say, great, meet me at my bank.
Yep.
And I would take that cash and I would put it in my bank account and I would transfer the money, and then, good luck getting that money back from the doc.
I've actually done that exact situation with a customer who I was pretty sure was fraudulent. It turned out it was a little old lady, and but we just did.
So she was legit.
Yeah, it was legit. It wasn't for crypto, but it was for a computer that she wanted to buy. But I was not willing. She basically, what happened was she sent us a money order, and it wasn't for them. She got the number wrong, and that's also a scam. That's exactly like that screams.
I got it. Somebody tried to hire me as a painter with that scam.
So we met at a bank. She literally went in, got the money for the money orders, and came out, handed me the money order, handed over the laptop, and that was it, done deal. But it was a great solution to the security potential security problem that you could have.
So check out local.bitcoin.com. It's a pretty useful site, but you do have to be aware that it's risky. It's risky, and then there's certain types of transactions that are riskier than others. For instance, anything involving cash. If you're picking up money from Western Union, you got cash in hand. You know that can't be reversed.
Yeah.
Whereas
when you say it's risky, it's probably more risky for the seller than the buyer, right? I mean, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I would say that's probably true.
Well, because of the way the site works, because it goes into escrow.
Right.
What you're selling goes into escrow if you're doing it on the site. So that protects the buyer pretty well, because if the buyer has good evidence that they paid, then I think the arbitrator is going to side with the buyer.
Okay.
Although you still have to be cautious, because if you're a buyer and you buy from a seller that has, let's say, no feedback whatsoever, and the seller doesn't put the coin in escrow, and you're not paying attention and you don't notice, and you make the payment to the seller, then they can walk with the payment, and you didn't have the coin in escrow, so you can't. You would have no standing to complain about it because you weren't paying attention. So you still have to be careful. There's more coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450 free. We'll talk about the IRS crackdown on crypto coming up.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,415. Silver at $16.42. And Bitcoin is trading around $9,924. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Attorney General William Barr on Thursday announced the federal government will resume capital punishment after a 16-year-long de facto moratorium within the Department of Justice, in sharp contrast to the national trend of phasing out the death penalty on the state level. Currently, only 25 states have the death penalty on the books, and only 8 carried out executions last year. The Mind Unleashed reports that Barr instructed the Bureau of Prisons on Thursday to schedule the executions of 5 death row inmates, and the U.S. Department of Justice has already announced the names of the first inmates they intend to kill. According to the announcement, the 5 people have been convicted of murdering, and in some cases torturing and raping, the most vulnerable in our society, children and the elderly. That's a quote. The executions will take place at the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. Prior to the 16-year-long moratorium, the federal government carried out only 3 executions after the death penalty was reinstated in 1988. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Details released Wednesday night indicate that Jeffrey Epstein was found injured inside his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan while awaiting trial to face child sex trafficking charges. The millionaire financier was semi-conscious with marks on his neck and in the fetal position on the floor of his cell when he was found sometime within the last 2 days. Activist Post reports that investigators remain unclear as to what actually happened, and a number of different theories are being considered, including the possibility that it was a suicide attempt or a stunt to get himself transferred to a more isolated unit. Assault has not been ruled out in the case, and it's been suggested that one of his cellmates could have attacked him. Regardless of the circumstances, authorities have put Epstein on suicide watch. He was taken to a nearby undisclosed hospital after he was found and is reportedly in stable condition. Medical marijuana is fast gaining credibility as a valid pain relief treatment, with data from various studies attesting to the medical and health benefits of cannabis as a viable alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. The Mind Unleashed reports that researchers have now uncovered a new reason why. The cannabis plant produces pain-relieving molecules that are 30 times more potent at reducing inflammation than aspirin. What makes the discovery so groundbreaking is that it could carve a new path to natural pain relief medications that would save patients who suffer chronic pain from the risk of addiction associated with opioid-based painkillers. According to the team of researchers, they found out how the two important molecules, canflavin A and canflavin B, were produced through a combination of genomics and biochemistry. The two canflavins were identified in 1985 when scientists proved they had benefits which could fight inflammation at a gram-for-gram rate of about 30 times that of aspirin. However, prohibitionist laws in Canada prevented further research into the potent anti-inflammatory qualities of the molecules. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
I always dreamed of providing the nation with concise recaps of the week's events. One fateful summer in 1934, legendary onion mogul T. Herman Zwiebel was passing through our town to acquire an oil derrick when he overheard me calling in the oxen in my breathy baritone and offered me the opportunity of a lifetime. Yes, from the turbulent war times of the 1940s.
The Onion welcomes the majestic Axis armies as conquering heroes.
To the free-spirited 60s.
And remember, there's nothing more cosmic than keeping your house insulated with Thermoflake brand asbestos.
I can truly say I've been here for the turning of the ages. But now, viewers, my beautiful 19-year-old wife and I will take our much-deserved retirement to my Genevan chateau. I wish all of my detractors empty, destitute lives. And for my allies, I hope for all the pleasures availed by heaven. So, finally, let me say one last time. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, and we are kicking off the second hour of this program. We do them 7 nights a week, so if you missed one of them, you can always go to freetalklive.com and download as many episodes as you want, going all the way back to 2006. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
We got a lot to talk about still. In fact, we haven't even gotten into the details.
No.
We've just been kind of talking about all things Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in the last hour. But what started the conversation is this news that the IRS apparently is sending threatening letters out to over 10,000 recipients. And you've got the story, Chris.
Yeah, so the Wall Street Journal is literally, the title says, IRS sending warning letters to more than 10,000 cryptocurrency holders. And I find it kind of humorous that they're calling them warning letters, just because it's like these are threats.
Yep.
I mean, it's not the kind of thing that
are you threatening me?
Yeah. Internal Revenue Service has begun sending letters to more than 10,000 cryptocurrency holders, warning they may have broken federal tax laws. The agency wasn't specific about the possible violations it was reviewing, but those who hold digital currencies could be subject to a variety of taxes, especially on capital gains. Yeah, it's unbelievable that it says you may be a violator just because you are holding cryptocurrency. They don't know
technically
who is paid and who hasn't.
Yeah. Now, technically, if you buy a silver coin from somebody and sell it to somebody else later at a different price, you're also responsible for capital gains.
Yeah.
But good luck enforcing that.
Yeah, right. I mean, a lot of that is true. The part of the reason why they're able to enforce this is because people are going through these regulated, centralized exchanges.
Correct.
And also because they're using non-privacy coins.
I don't think it's so much the non-privacy coins or the fact that they're not privacy friendly. I think it's mostly to do with the fact they're going through these exchanges, because ultimately they need to connect a name and a person to a wallet, and it's not going to be easy to do that without subpoenaing that information from somebody. And they're not going to go and subpoena information for every, most of these transactions you're probably doing they're not even getting your name, right? They're just, if you go to Hot Hogs, right? Hot Hogs doesn't ask you for your name.
This is a barbecue food truck here in town.
So they're not asking you for that information. So even if they tried to subpoena that business, they wouldn't have that information. Right. On the other hand, the exchanges...
Well, they do have information from credit card clients. So if you buy your barbecue with a credit card,
but not with a non-privacy friendly cryptocurrency.
Sure.
So they wouldn't be able to do it there, but they would be able to do it at the exchange point,
right?
Assuming that people are going through these centralized, regulated exchanges,
and a lot of them do.
And and this is true. And I, in some respects, I kind of understand why people do that.
It's
because
convenient.
It's convenient.
It's cheap.
But at the same time, it's not the best way to go about it, especially if you do not want to be a target.
Right.
I think there's
you have to take time and effort and spend money in order to acquire privacy. You don't just have it by default. You have to put effort into it. And so for people that are concerned with the IRS knowing their business, or rather not knowing their business, you've got to take some extra steps. You've got to look into other options as far as how to acquire cryptocurrency, buying it from an individual in person. As long as it's not an IRS agent, you're probably fine. Yeah. Using some of the crypto vending machines, not all of them. Many of them want to know your phone number or want you to scan a driver's license. So it's usually buying in person is one of the easier ways to do this, or using some sort of a decentralized exchange like maybe local.bitcoin.com.
Yeah, and one of the other ways people can buy is just they can still use the banking system. You don't want to go through the regulated exchanges. So you can go, I believe, I don't know how easy this is or where you would go today, but I know like back in the day, I purchased cryptocurrency by going to a bank, depositing cash and getting my crypto sent to me. So
someone else's bank account. You went to someone else's bank account and deposited cash.
Right. You go to the bank of the person who
that's what happens
is selling you the cryptocurrency.
The old site, Local Bitcoins, which is the other site that does Bitcoin BTC. I've sold on there for years, and that's how I do it. I have people deposit cash into a bank account. Now, I've tried that on local.bitcoin.com, and there's very little interest in that right now on that particular site, and that may be because it may be because it's just a new site. It's smaller. It's only been around for not even 2 whole months yet at this point, so it may not have grown to that point, or maybe its client base is more interested in privacy, and so maybe they're afraid of going to a bank or whatever. I don't know.
It's going to be a lot more difficult to go after people based off of that type of transaction. It's not that it would be impossible. It's just it makes it difficult, and the more difficult you make it for the government, the less likely you're going to end up being a target.
That's true.
So I think it's at the end of the day, it's not even like you have to take extreme steps for most people anyway. But you're going to pay more, right? So if you do one of these bank deposit things, you're going to pay more than if you go through Coinbase. Do you know what do you have an idea of like what the difference in fees are and stuff?
Yeah,
because I'm not
on the other site. If you go there, you're probably going to pay. You could pay as little as like 4%.
Okay.
Which is 4 times what you'd pay on Coinbase, or close to 4. It used to be 4. I think they raised it. I think Coinbase went from 1% to 1.5. So more than twice what you would pay on Coinbase.
Interesting. But then again, if you take into account if you're doing large transactions, like $20,000 plus of transactions, all of a sudden it may make more sense to pay that little bit of a percentage, because ultimately if the IRS comes after you, that's going to be more of a
cost you.
Right. What's that going to cost you? Yeah. So personally, I would not use a centralized exchange for just the headaches that it causes. It's not to say that I'm not necessarily I'm violating any laws. It's simply to say that I'd rather not have to worry about the IRS scrutinizing my my records. So just for that alone, I think it makes it worthwhile.
Now, of course, there are exchanges that are located outside of the United States jurisdiction, and I have to wonder, what are those exchanges? What would they say to the IRS if the IRS sent them a threatening letter? I mean, because they're not in the same jurisdiction, they could just be like, "Screw you."
It's a good question. I think part of the reason why it's more, and I don't know this. I'm not sure exactly what the story is, but I think a lot of the exchanges at least won't do business with you if you're in the U.S. and
Many
they don't
won't.
operate in the U.S.
You're correct. Many of them will not.
And I don't know. I don't even know that you can go into so let's say there's I'm trying to think some of the banks. I'm trying to think the Hong Kong one. Trying to think the major Hong Kong bank, but it's basically a bank that's in the United States, and they also have a lot of banks overseas as well. But I don't think you're going to be able to go into that bank account and make a deposit, but you might be able to if you have a U.S. denominated account overseas in Hong Kong, and then you go into one of their branches here. But the thing with that is there's not as many branches here except if you're in a major city. So if you're in Keene, it's going to be very difficult to purchase from that exchange or from somebody overseas with a U.S. denominated.
It's difficult to use these exchanges, period, because of all the government rules and the know your customer and all the hassles, and the banks are very uncomfortable. If they detect that you're sending money to a Bitcoin exchange, many banks will just go ahead and cut you off. They'll just go ahead and cancel your account. I've had accounts canceled that did nothing else besides wire money to Bitcoin exchanges.
Yeah, you might you might be able to do a wire transfer to a bank overseas, though. Now that's probably going to cost you.
International wire transfers are a different kettle of fish, though. They asked me when I opened my bank account today whether I wanted to do international bank wire transfers, because they have to set up the account differently, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I do international wire transfers all the time, not to purchase cryptocurrency, mind you,
for your business,
but for my business, I pay I pay suppliers in China and other places for in Hong Kong and I don't know, Thailand and Europe and whatever. I do lots of international transactions with wire transfers still, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be all that difficult. There is a fee. There's a cost to doing that, but if you're purchasing a large quantity, it probably makes sense from a fee perspective. The one thing I'm not sure, again, I don't think I've actually done this, so I'm not really sure exactly what the details are, but one of the things that they do ask is, what is the transaction?
What's the purpose of the
transaction? So I don't know exactly what you might put down for that, but presumably you could be somewhat broad
investment.
Yes,
How
maybe.
specific are you with computer goods? Do you say computer stuff, or do you just say I sold them stuff?
Usually I think they just put down to pay a bill or something to that effect. And
so they don't even know what the bill is for.
Right, exactly.
More coming up here. Your thoughts welcome, and I imagine there's a little more on this story about the IRS.
Oh yeah, we could probably go on a little.
We'll share some of that as well. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we're going to see the end of the free internet. That's what Reason.com is saying. Coming up.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McElvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Free Talk Live.
You give someone an ounce of liberty and they'll go around abusing it and harming everyone else with it.
If we legalize guns...
People will be shooting people everywhere.
Right.
If you legalize prostitution, people will be having sex on the street corners. If you legalize drugs, we'll have heroin vending machines in the streets. We've heard it all on Free Talk Live. They take it to the most absurd, illogical extremes, and you're absolutely right, Alexander. It's okay for them to have freedom.
Yeah, you can give them a gun. They won't go around shooting people. But watch out with their neighbor, because you give them a gun, they'll go around in a rampage around the city, killing everyone.
But yes, they can be trusted, and apparently the government can be trusted too, because magically, we only elect the best of the best, the cream of the crop. The bureaucrats that are administering these programs are the upper echelon of society, the most trustworthy individuals.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes when I squint, I swear I can see a halo above their heads.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you're invited here. If you want to join us, you can. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. The IRS threatening cryptocurrency users. Folks who may have purchased or sold Bitcoin on exchanges like Coinbase, specifically Coinbase, we think, they're coming after them, or at least that's what they want you to believe. They would love for you to tell them all about everything you've ever done with cryptocurrency so they can determine how much money you should pay them. At least that's what I presume this is going to be. We have not read these letters. I don't know if any of them are available yet, but...
Chris? I didn't see an actual copy of a letter, unfortunately, in the story that they linked to. So there's no source info, but they're quoting from the letters, I believe.
Oh, so somebody has received one of these?
Yes, from what I understand.
So, by the way, before we go on with that story, I do want you to know how to get 20% off of My Magic Mud. You go to mymagicmud.com. It's black tooth powder made of charcoalized coconut shells and bentonite clay. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth. Yes, that's right. You put black powder on your teeth, and it helps get them whiter. Seems counterintuitive, but it actually works. And it's available in most health food stores like Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, and even Walmart's Natural Beauty aisle. But why bother leaving where you are when you can just go to mymagicmud.com and save 20% by using code FTL20. That's FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. So tell me more from this story. You said this is the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, so this is from the Wall Street Journal. Taxpayers should take these letters very seriously. The IRS is expanding efforts involving virtual currency, IRS Commissioner Chuck Redding said. The agency expects its mailing to be completed by the end of August. 3 variations of the letter are being sent, depending on the information the IRS has about the recipient. The IRS letters come as Bitcoin, the world's most popular cryptocurrency, has ridden a new wave of optimism in recent months. In mid-July, Bitcoin topped $12,000, more than 3 times its value at the end of 2018. At the same time, use by drug dealers and other nefarious actors has marred its reputation. The IRS has expressed worries about the ability...
the dollar, which has never been spent on such things.
The ability of digital currencies to promote tax evasion.
I think, by the way, somebody studied, because it is a public blockchain, and some of the wallets that are run by darknet sites are identifiable. I think that they determined that no more than 1% of all Bitcoin transactions had anything to do with the darknet or any kind of drug deals or anything.
That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. I mean, I think to some degree there's probably some truth in that most cryptocurrency users are not reporting on their taxes the capital gains.
Absolutely not.
But I think that's, I don't think, honestly, most people are, yes, and I think most people are not, they're also not using, they're not just investors using cryptocurrency. So it's like, if you have a little bit of cryptocurrency, it's unlikely they're going to go after you. If you're not doing at least $20,000 worth, the IRS isn't even getting your information from Coinbase as an example.
Well, they want to go after people who can pay up.
Right. An IRS spokesman declined to say how it learned about the targeted cryptocurrency holders and their transactions, which we really already know because of previous lawsuits involving Coinbase. One possible source is information provided to the agency by cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase. In mid-March of 2018, Coinbase provided data under a federal court order on about 13,000 accounts as requested by the IRS. So it was somewhere between 10 and 14.
Yeah.
Coinbase turned over data on its customers who bought, sold, or sent or received digital currencies worth $20,000 or more, this is US dollars, between 2013 and 2015. So presumably it's only people who are using it also during that time period, it sounds like. So
I'm surprised that it's only during that time period because they turned over the data more recently than 2015. That happened in like 20...
Well, the thing is, they would have written the demand when the case was filed. They would have probably demanded between this date and that date, and the end date doesn't change as the case progresses.
If it's only 2013 to 2015, I may not be in that listing because I wasn't buying a lot on Coinbase at that time.
Okay, they'll target you for something else
from Coinbase.
Oh, I'm definitely under investigation.
Sure. Right,
we are. I mean, 100%. There's no doubt.
Days.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
there's no doubt about it. They targeted my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Tried to intimidate her, and they even targeted one of my buyers on the local Bitcoins site. Somebody who'd purchased from me. They showed up at his house. Wanted to ask him questions about me.
Wow.
And it's funny.
This was
like,
within the last
how much
months.
would they even know? Right. Like somebody that bought crypto from you that they couldn't find out themselves by buying crypto from you.
Plus that other site is more than happy to hand over data to federal agents because they have all the transaction history. They have all the discussions you've had with the customers and everything, unlike local.bitcoin.com where it's encrypted.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if it's just to be clear, I don't know if the transaction details are encrypted on that site. I know that the conversations between buyers and sellers are.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, the part that is essential, I'm pretty sure they do have access to it, unless it's destroyed after 7 days along with the conversation keys.
Well, but remember, you can sign up for an account without using any identifiable information.
Yeah, I was just about to say, does it really matter? Because as long as they don't know, as long as they don't have a list of subpoena that's easily usable, they're probably going to target easier.
They want the easy targets.
Yeah, easy targets. They're not going to go after you. They're going to go after the regulated exchanges.
Right.
The data included the customer's name, taxpayer. Right here is exactly how you know
this is what Coinbase turned over.
To IRS. Yeah, this is what they were collecting.
Customer name,
right? Customer's name. They have the taxpayer identification number, birthday and address. I mean, whenever somebody asks you for that information, you know that it's going to get used to reported to the IRS. Basically,
it could be used against you.
Yeah.
Plus account statements and the names of counterparties.
I don't know what that is. Like the counterparty.
Guess who you maybe sent them money or Bitcoin to from Coinbase? I'm not really sure.
How would they know?
Wait, what was what was it about counterparties?
Plus account
that was
statements
information they gave over,
and the names of counterparties.
Yeah, well, counterparties are the people you traded with.
Maybe if you traded with them on Coinbase, but if you were sending money off of Coinbase, they wouldn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they might or might not.
How would they know?
It generally wouldn't, unless you were to, unless that person were to identify, hey, I've got this Bitcoin address.
Right. I mean, if it was
this person,
I mean, so published Bitcoin addresses, they could give information about the counterparty, but even the QR code it was sent to, QR code, that's silly. Even the address that it was sent to is counterparty information. It's the primary key of the counterparty database.
For sure.
It's just hard to get the rest of the row.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going. They already have so many people to go after already.
Yeah.
It would be futile to try and track down people just based off I want to say QR code now, but based off a wallet address.
Mm-hmm.
A representative for Coinbase declined to comment in terms of the actual people who have crypto digital or capital gains. Most of them are not prepared because they have not been filing crypto taxes based on conversations with thousands of our users, said Chandan Lunda, chief executive and co-founder of CoinTracker, a digital currency tax software company. I've never even heard of this. So there's actually tax software specifically for crypto? That's interesting. Mr. Ludha said that many cryptocurrency exchanges weren't built to provide users with transaction histories. Without such histories, investors would have had to keep track of their transactions by hand.
Yeah,
absolutely. And this is why I think the way the IRS is basically going to do it is they're going to take the maximum dollar amount of the cryptocurrency at the point, so 20,000 roughly, and they're going to use that as the basis for how much you owe.
But if you haven't even sold it yet.
Well, assuming that you haven't kept track of it, basically. So assuming that you can't say, I didn't sell it yet, they're going to just assume the maximum.
And how are they going to even prove you have it? Unless it's sitting in your Coinbase account.
They're going to base it off of what you bought from Coinbase.
But that doesn't mean you have it.
Oops, I sent it to a strange wallet and I lost the key.
It's your responsibility to keep track of it.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait, now. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for? You're being served. What is this? You're being served. What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and we'll take your calls and thoughts about whatever's on your mind. That we've been focusing on the purported IRS crackdown on cryptocurrency buyers and sellers. They're going after people ostensibly from exchange Coinbase, but maybe they've got some data from elsewhere that we don't know about.
It's possible.
It sounds like it's likely just all going to be Coinbase because we know they managed to extract around 10 or 14,000 user info from Coinbase through a legal process within the last couple of years, and they're saying here they're sending out about 10 or so thousand letters, and these letters are intended to threaten people into revealing their stash, basically, or what? I'm still not real clear because we haven't actually seen one of these letters yet. Hopefully, no one we know will receive one of them, but who knows?
I mean, I am kind of interested, though.
I'm curious to see what they say as well, because the start of the story that you're sharing from the Wall Street Journal says the letters indicate that someone may be liable for taxes on their cryptocurrency, and that suggests that the IRS doesn't really know. They'd like you to determine whether or not you're liable.
This next line here is actually the most interesting and references exactly that.
Let's get deeper into it. Go right ahead.
This is a problem that people should have been paying attention to for a long time. He said the sternest version of the letter released Friday asks recipients who believe they have followed the law to sign a statement declaring under penalty of perjury that they are in compliance with tax laws.
Wow.
So basically, they're going to try and get people to commit perjury.
Crazy.
They're going to try and get people to commit perjury. So when they go after them,
they'll have this.
They have
as
another.
evidence.
Yeah, they have another thing. Basically,
I would put that in the shredder.
Yes, I would definitely not sign this, especially without talking to a lawyer first.
Yeah, because how could you know? I mean,
well,
I'd just
for
like to
one, there's no
clarify.
way you can be compliant with tax laws. It's so complicated.
Right.
The other thing is, if you maybe spent $100,000 in cash buying Bitcoin and threw it in a wallet, maybe at the peak of it, then you may well have a loss. And since it was cash, there wouldn't be any record of that transaction. They can't prove it didn't happen. There's I think they're going to have a very, very difficult time with this whole thing. My first approach to this, if I was acting pro se, would be, okay, prove that I own Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to own Bitcoin?
I think,
is it a thing? Can I have it? Can you give it to me? Then where is it?
Can you find it here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Peter Schiff is not backed by anything.
I think all they're going to do is present the records from Coinbase showing that you did this thing. Now, I think their argument is, well, how do you know that it was me? You had my information, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was me who
Could have been somebody else using the account.
Right.
And beyond that, they can't prove where it went after it left Coinbase. Unless it's still sitting on Coinbase, they don't know where that Bitcoin ended up. They have no idea.
Maybe you threw it in a wallet and then lost your key.
Or it fell off a boat in a boating accident or whatever. You never know.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
I lost some guns and a Bitcoin wallet that way.
Mm-hmm. It's tragic, these boating accidents.
Yeah, the mildest warn, so there's different letters or versions of it. The mildest letter warns that the recipient may not know the requirements for reporting transactions. Yeah, because they were not, there was no documentation on how you were supposed to even do this, and there still really isn't. Up until
I maintain that
recently.
It's near impossible to try to actually report how much you have made, unless you've only ever bought one time and sold one time. Then you really could, it's all gonna get lost in the all the various different transactions that you might have had over the years. But one of the things that I wanted to point out here is they're just trying to scare people into compliance. That's what I think this is all about. Because I remember hearing, I think it was like I don't know if it was 2017, but it was a couple years ago. There was some statistic that was released, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who released it. I don't know if it came from the IRS or if it came from Coinbase, but they basically, somebody put out a statistic showing how many people had actually filed whatever paperwork the IRS wants you to file on your cryptocurrency ownership / sales, and it was only like a few hundred or 700 people, like almost nobody reported their cryptocurrency to the IRS. So they're mad about that.
I think it was like 200 to 800 people or something like that.
It was very low.
Yeah, it was
less than 1,000 people across all of the United States that had reported their crypto. And there's tens of thousands of them. So only a fraction.
There's more than tens of thousands. As big as this is, I would say easily
100,000?
hundreds of thousands to a million at least.
So most people, the super majority of them, did not report anything to the IRS. And this is one of the ways that they're trying to strike back. They're mad about it.
Right.
Well, if and when they act against these people, okay.
You mean more than just sending a letter?
Yes, there's going to be a first time that they move beyond threatening, when they arrest somebody, when they put a lien on somebody's
freeze
property.
a bank account.
I think it behooves us as crypto users, when that happens, to show up in mass.
You know what I would love?
Show
that
up
person?
by the 100,000.
You know what I would
protest. Yeah. And shut down whatever town this is happening in. There's a lot of us out there.
But you know what we need is actually the letters. We need to subpoena the names and addresses of the people who receive these letters in order to organize. I mean, until we have that information, it makes it very difficult to organize.
That's probably true, although
but most people aren't going to want to stand up. They're going to just...
You got to start somewhere, though. I mean, you know that more than anybody.
They caught me. What do I do to pay? How do I jump through the hoops? I mean, I hope somebody does stand up, because that person would deserve some support.
But it's easier to stand up if you know everybody else is going to stand up.
Yeah, but everybody else won't stand up.
Well, even if there's a larger percentage of people, even if there's a small percentage of
the
people
more people who stand up, the better.
Right,
That's
exactly.
definitely
But
true,
you
and it makes it harder and harder for
it's hard to stand up as a single individual, but if you can organize a percentage of those people to stand up, it becomes a heck of a lot easier, because now IRS has to do some work.
So far, almost everyone who has been arrested for selling on local Bitcoins has taken a plea deal.
Right, and that's because they're a single individual. It's almost impossible to stand up when you're a single individual. But when you have multiple people, when they have 100, when they have 1,000 cases to prosecute, it becomes a lot harder.
That's if they open 1,000 cases.
What if we took up a collection for the poor guy who ends up in jail, which is somebody's going to end up
I mean, these are probably people that they're
jail.
going after that don't need that, though.
So why not set up a fund for the defendant to basically indemnify or to pay him, because some people will go to prison for a certain amount of money for a certain period of time.
Are you volunteering, Rich?
I'm not volunteering. I've already played this game, and I did it for free, and I didn't like it.
Well, I think Chris makes a good point. I mean, it's possible that a lot of these people they're going after are already fairly well heeled. And that may be one of the reasons why they're targeting early buyers from 2013, 2014.
Oh, yeah.
Because the IRS is figuring that they've made a bunch of money, right? Like if they bought 10,000 Bitcoins or whatever at a buck a piece.
The thing is, I was well heeled the day before the FBI arrested me. The day after, not so much.
And this is I would agree with Rich on this one detail is you need to if you were on Coinbase between that period and you had done more than $20,000 in transactions, this is the time to talk to a lawyer and put them on retainer, because once they take your money, you don't have that money to pay a lawyer.
You can't pay the attorney.
Right. Yeah. But if the lawyer has it prior to your arrest,
you're good.
You're good.
Right.
They can't take that money. So now is the time to put the money with the retainer.
Advice.
Once that you can get that money back from the retainer, once you're
if they do nothing.
Right.
Is there a tax lawyer that anybody knows who actually owns crypto? Because he's got to be thinking about his own case, and he would be the most appropriate person to set this up. But basically he's building a new specialty. There are no crypto lawyers.
There are some. I've met them at the trade shows.
I wouldn't say there's
when I
none.
say
but
crypto lawyers, I mean there haven't been that many cases.
No, that's
so
true.
there aren't that many lawyers with understanding of the technical issues.
There's not enough
on
case
either
law.
side.
There's not enough case law at this point, I think, is what it comes down to. We have lawyers who have definitely done their homework to the extent that they can.
Well, I hope we do something to indemnify those who fall.
Speaking of lawyers, I've got a story that I just came across actually during the show about Christopher Cantwell. Apparently, his lawyer, the crying Nazi, former host on Free Talk Live, his lawyer is apparently dropping him. From his case.
A guy a lawyer won't deal with.
More coming up.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have 2 convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part, Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Hey everyone! Proactive MD has an incredible offer for our radio listeners only. Stay tuned for our exclusive offer that includes a free charcoal pore cleansing brush and free shipping. Proactive MD with prescription strength adapalene can heal and prevent future breakouts. Today, for just $19.95, we're offering listeners the 3-piece Proactive MD system with free shipping, plus a free gift, the new charcoal pore cleansing brush. Get this exclusive offer by calling now, 1-800-583-8662, or go to proactive.com and enter promo code RADIO. You heard right. Proactive MD plus free shipping and a free gift, the new charcoal pore cleansing brush. You'll get all this for just $19.95 and their 60-day money-back guarantee. You're guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, or you get your money back. Call now, 1-800-583-8662. That's 1-800-583-8662. Or go to proactive.com and enter promo code RADIO. Again, go to proactive.com and enter promo code RADIO.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can take control of the airwaves, and we're going to give you an update on what's going on with Christopher Cantwell, the former Free Talk Live host who we fired because he turned out that he became a white nationalist and then ultimately embracing the term Nazi.
Illinois Nazis? I hate Illinois Nazis.
He's not from Illinois. He's from New York.
Nah, it's a line from the Blues Brothers.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. But anyway, Charlottesville lawyers have now dumped Christopher Cantwell, and the story here is coming from the Daily Beast. We'll share that with you on the way here. With you tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
And our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, if you want to accept cryptocurrency at your business, maybe you've got a local shop with brick and mortar building and people come in to buy stuff from you, or maybe you are a service provider and you go to your customers and you want to make it easy for them to pay you with crypto like Bitcoin or Dash or Zcash and others. You can do that by going to helpmetakebitcoin.com and get started there. It is super easy. It's way easier than you think that it might be to get started. In fact, you don't even have to go to helpmetakebitcoin.com. You can just download the AnyPay Take Crypto app from the iOS or Android app stores and just start right through the app. But if you want to walk through, go to helpmetakebitcoin.com. That's helpmetakebitcoin.com. It really is so easy to do, and I love it. We just used AnyPay today when we were out at local Bitcoin meetup to buy some delicious barbecue. helpmetakebitcoin.com. Here's a story from the Daily Beast. This is about the Charlottesville conflict with the white supremacists versus the Antifa, which you may recall from the summer of 2017. Former Free Talk Live host turned crying Nazi Chris Cantwell apparently has now been dropped by his attorneys. According to the story, one won't pay his legal bills and keeps threatening attorneys. The other is on the run. These two white supremacists are so awful, their own lawyers are dumping them. Chris, the crying Nazi Cantwell, and Robert Amador Ray were two prominent marchers during 2017's deadly white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Since then, the pair have been named in a sprawling lawsuit against many of the rally's key players. Now remember, Cantwell ended up getting arrested for ostensibly releasing a pepper spray, basically, because apparently it's illegal to do that, whether or not it actually ends up contacting somebody in Virginia. They arrested him. They put him in a jail cell. He was charged with a few different charges. And ultimately, after several months, they ended up letting him out on bail to where he finally did take a plea deal, pled down from felony charges to a misdemeanor. I think he only got convicted of one misdemeanor charge. I forget what the actual charge was that he got convicted on.
The law that they charged him with was pretty ridiculous.
It was. And ostensibly, he was using it in self-defense purposes.
Right.
And two of the accusers who say that he attacked them with the pepper spray, they weren't actually attacked by Chris Cantwell, and video evidence proved it. So they didn't really have that much of a case, but they went after him because of who he was, because of his prominence.
He's a big name in the conservative
Now, did he
community.
take a plea?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, because ultimately, at the end of the day, everything's stacked against you, and he knew it.
Yeah, I mean, he could walk away with retaining his gun rights rather than face felony charges in court. I mean, it seemed like probably the right thing to do in that case.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to lose his gun rights, and he didn't. Because he took the plea.
And I can tell you that having taken the other road and lost mine, it really sucks living without the ability to defend yourself. I mean, luckily I can fight because I never learned to run. But other than that,
you can fight without a gun against a gun.
Huh?
You can fight against a gun without a gun.
Depends on how close he is to me.
Okay.
If he's close to me, I will kill you before. If I see it coming, I'll kill you before you get your gun out.
Okay, fair enough.
So back to the story here. Lawyers Elmer Woodard and James Kolnick have made a name for themselves representing Nazis. Their biggest case is ongoing, Sines versus Kessler lawsuit, in which Charlottesville locals are suing the white supremacists who brought terror to their city in 2017. But Woodard and Kulnick are drawing the line at representing Ray and Cantwell. Ray, a blogger and podcaster for a white supremacist website, has been a fugitive since June of 2018, according to the website Angry White Men. He's wanted in Virginia on a felony count of releasing pepper spray against anti-racist protesters at the Charlottesville riot. Footage from the rally shows Ray describing the attacks as, quote, glorious. He says, I personally literally gassed half a dozen of them. He uses a very nasty word that I won't say there. With Ray on the run, his lawyers have been mostly unable to contact him, except by leaving comments on a white supremacist forum imploring him to call his attorneys. They claimed in the Thursday filing. Quote, defendant Robert Ray has not been available by phone or email for most of the case, unquote. Rather, counsel had to request, actually, this is the continued quote, rather, counsel had to request contact through an alternative means, and Mr. Ray would then call. For more than 6 weeks, Ray has been absent from said comment area. Woodard and Kulnick, the attorneys, have not heard from Ray in at least that amount of time. Although Ray stopped posting in the comment area, he did release a podcast as recently as this week. Cantwell's activities, meanwhile, are well known. His problem is he can't stop posting. On the messaging platform Telegram, Cantwell allegedly made violent comments against Roberta Kaplan, the lead attorney for the plaintiffs in the case. A convicted criminal who glorifies violence to his followers, Cantwell might have put the case at risk by inciting violence against Kaplan, her team alleged in a filing earlier this month. Kaplan's team asked for sanctions against Cantwell. Meanwhile, Integrity First for America, a civil rights group backing the lawsuit, said it's raising money to ensure the lawyer's physical safety. Quote, frankly, threats like this are why IFA is fundraising for security costs. We need to ensure our legal team and plaintiffs are safe, said the executive director for that group.
And that's a serious thing, because issuing a credible threat is considered assault as a tort, and that means that you can basically sue somebody for damages for that. That's what you would probably see in a free society, would be common law courts where that handled torts.
I want to know what these threats are, because I'm a little skeptical. A lot of the white supremacist name calling is just that. It's name calling. It's not they're not genuine threats. Now, maybe in this case it was, but I'm a little skeptical of it.
Cantwell is not a stupid man. Yeah. Generally, he's pretty good at dancing around what he's actually saying. And again, I have not read what they're referring to, so we don't know what we're doing here is speculating about it. But yeah, it would be interesting to actually read what the allegations are. And that said, I'm also curious to know what the standing of this lawsuit is. Like, exactly what are they suing exactly? The fact that Cantwell showed up and made a stink in Charlottesville? What is the damages?
Well, when you say made a stink, are you including the pepper spray?
No, this is a civil suit.
Right, but the thing is, if he pepper sprayed someone or allegedly pepper sprayed someone, then that person also has a tort for damages, as that's completely apart from any criminal charge.
Evidence contradicts
but
that.
He wasn't convicted of those acts.
He was not convicted, but the standard of proof in a criminal court is beyond a reasonable doubt, and in a civil court
it's preponderance.
Is preponderance of the evidence. So 50% plus a feather wins.
Attorneys are at a loss as to how we would be able to argue Ms. Kaplan's concerns and requests for relief as expressed to the court are unreasonable, their filing reads. Continuing, they said, Mr. Cantwell has rendered attorneys' continued representation of him unreasonably difficult, has created a conflict of interest between himself and attorneys' other clients, and has engaged in conduct attorneys consider repugnant or imprudent, says the filing. Lawyers argued they had good cause to withdraw as his attorneys, and they added, quote, Mr. Cantwell has made no effort to pay his outstanding fee invoices, so he's behind in his bills. After having repeatedly been warned.
It's the fact that he's behind is in his bills, especially to his attorney.
Yeah.
That tells me that the white nationalist movement really doesn't have any power.
They're not backing him.
The first thing they'd be doing is paying his legal bills.
Right.
You would think.
I raised $16,000 for an appeal from libertarians in one state.
That's right.
It's true.
Mr. Cantwell has made no effort to pay his outstanding fees after having been repeatedly warned that attorneys would seek to withdraw if he didn't do so. So his attorney said, hey, look, man, you owe us. And if you don't pay, we're going to stop being your attorney. But Talnick said Woodard and Kulnick's filing raises the same concerns as the plaintiffs. Quote, "This underscores two critical issues we've been raising. One, these defendants have a total disregard for the legal process and the rule of law," which is ironic because Chris Cantwell has recently embraced the rule of law. Anybody who's watched Hippie versus Nazi, which was your debate versus Chris Cantwell, nobody would know
came out as a statist.
Total statist. Yep. And I heard recently Vincent, a former co-host here on Free Talk Live, said Cantwell recently published a 3,500-word pro-police editorial piece
Are you serious?
on his website.
I'll give that a miss.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450.
Guys are getting what they deserve.
3733. Hour 3's next. This is Free Talk Live.
Ever wanted to hook up with an attractive woman, but you couldn't because you were already in a monogamous relationship? Ever wanted to work when you wanted to work instead of having to report to an office when you would rather have done something else? There's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalk.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,415. Silver at $16.42, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,924. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Attorney General William Barr on Thursday announced the federal government will resume capital punishment after a 16-year-long de facto moratorium within the Department of Justice, in sharp contrast to the national trend of phasing out the death penalty on the state level. Currently, only 25 states have the death penalty on the books, and only 8 carried out executions last year. The Mind Unleashed reports that Barr instructed the Bureau of Prisons on Thursday to schedule the executions of 5 death row inmates, and the U.S. Department of Justice has already announced the names of the first inmates they intend to kill. According to the announcement, the 5 people have been convicted of murdering, and in some cases torturing and raping, the most vulnerable in our society, children and the elderly. That's a quote. The executions will take place at the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. Prior to the 16-year-long moratorium, the federal government carried out only 3 executions after the death penalty was reinstated in 1988. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. and believe so strongly in the power of Kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of Kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Details released Wednesday night indicate that Jeffrey Epstein was found injured inside his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan while awaiting trial to face child sex trafficking charges. The millionaire financier was semi-conscious with marks on his neck and in the fetal position on the floor of his cell when he was found sometime within the last 2 days. Activist Post reports that investigators remain unclear as to what actually happened, and a number of different theories are being considered, including the possibility that it was a suicide attempt or a stunt to get himself transferred to a more isolated unit. Assault has not been ruled out in the case, and it's been suggested that one of his cellmates could have attacked him. Regardless of the circumstances, authorities have put Epstein on suicide watch. He was taken to a nearby undisclosed hospital after he was found and is reportedly in stable condition. Medical marijuana is fast gaining credibility as a valid pain relief treatment, with data from various studies attesting to the medical and health benefits of cannabis as a viable alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. The Mind Unleashed reports that researchers have now uncovered a new reason why. The cannabis plant produces pain-relieving molecules that are 30 times more potent at reducing inflammation than aspirin. What makes the discovery so groundbreaking is that it could carve a new path to natural pain relief medications that would save patients who suffer chronic pain from the risk of addiction associated with opioid-based painkillers. According to the team of researchers, they found out how the two important molecules, canflavin A and canflavin B, were produced through a combination of genomics and biochemistry. The two canflavins were identified in 1985 when scientists proved they had benefits which could fight inflammation at a gram-for-gram rate of about 30 times that of aspirin. However, prohibitionist laws in Canada prevented further research into the potent anti-inflammatory qualities of the molecules. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A new report by the Department of Health and Human Services has found that the average male is 4,000% less effective in fights than he imagines, casting powerful doubts on many men's claims that they could take someone out in 2 seconds or smash a guy's face in with their fist.
On average, men describing hypothetical fights overestimated their level of combat skill by a factor of 40, with 80% of males incorrectly predicting they could mess a guy up real bad with one solid punch to the jaw. During actual physical altercations, however, these men were statistically more likely to end up hurting themselves, or, most commonly, trying to diffuse the tension by nervously saying, "Hey man, let's all just calm down, okay?" before any fighting even came to pass.
Researchers discovered that men were significantly weaker than they verbally indicated while chatting with friends in bars and locker rooms, and that men who were 90% sure they could tear someone a new asshole tended to succeed in fewer than 1 in 10 fights.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into one of those. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Now, I'm paging through this 96-page-long complaint filed in civil court in Virginia against what appear to be dozens of defendants, or a couple dozen defendants, including Christopher Cantwell, who, according to the Daily Beast, is now being dropped from his attorney.
Is he Beast of the Day?
Maybe.
At the Daily Beast?
Is that a thing there? I don't
know. It should be.
So he's the failure of the day because he's being dropped by his attorney. His attorney saying Cantwell has not paid his bill, but beyond that, he's very difficult to work with. Apparently, the allegations are that Cantwell has now issued a threat against the prosecutor. I don't know if you call him a prosecutor, but plaintiff's attorney, I suppose. That he's issued some sort of a threat on Telegram. Well, they don't say what the threat says. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a link. Let's see. Allegedly made violent comments against Roberta Kaplan, the lead attorney for the plaintiffs. The case in this question here is called Sines, S-I-N-E-S, maybe it's Sinis, Sines versus Kessler. And let's see. Crying Nazi Christopher Cantwell allegedly threatened Charlottesville lawyer. We'll see if we can dig up the actual... Okay, here's a quote from him, allegedly saying on Telegram, quote, after this stupid... I'm going to leave a word out. Whore loses this fraudulent lawsuit. We're going to have a lot of effing fun with her.
That's not a
threat. That's not a
threat of violence.
Yeah, I mean, it's tacky.
Yes, it's tacky, but not a threat of violence.
It's rude. And so...
being disrespectful is not a crime.
I definitely intend to have some fun suing the corrupt district attorney who's prosecuting me right now. So I could say the same thing, but it's not a violent threat.
Right.
It's vague. It's way too vague to have any threat interpreted from it.
But yet that is something that Cantwell's attorney cited in his reason for not wanting...
That's absurd.
Well, no, it's not necessarily. And that can make his job more difficult, right? Like if your client
I don't disagree.
Shut up, if you tell your client, hey, buddy, just be quiet, okay? Get off Telegram. Stop posting updates about this case.
There's no question that Cantwell is not helping his case any, right?
He's hurting him.
Right, and I understand why the lawyer dropped him, but at the same time, it sounds absolutely ridiculous that's what they're using again. It sounds more like the prosecutor dropped him because he's not paying his bill than anything else.
Yeah, technically it is threatening behavior, but not criminally threatening behavior.
Wait, hold on.
In that, let me clarify. I'm not saying it's a NAP violation.
NAP being non-aggression principle.
If your girlfriend threatens to break up with you, it's a threat, but it's a threat of something that's her legal right.
I can threaten to give you hugs,
so it's not a criminal threat. Exactly. She can threaten you with a good time. So that's not a criminal threat.
You can also threaten somebody with a lawsuit. I mean,
exactly. And that's a perfect example of a threat that is not a criminal threat.
Right.
But at the same time, if it's a criminal threat, that's another thing. And so the lawyer basically, it seems like he should give his own client the benefit of the doubt on that one.
There's no basis for it being a criminal threat because we lack the knowledge of what the threat even is.
Exactly.
So, as I said, I'm looking over this lawsuit. It's 90-something pages. I've skimmed over about the first third of it, and I gotta say, I happen to agree. There's not a lot I agree with Cantwell on, right? But I think that this lawsuit is basically designed to tie these guys up in court, and ultimately it will not be successful. I think it's designed to make their lives more difficult and more expensive, and it's going to do all of that. But ultimately, that all they're alleging here so far, and again, I'm only a third of the way through it, is they've gone on like the white supremacist discords. They've gone on like the white supremacist message boards. They've found, the invitations to Charlottesville back when they were planning this event. And of course, as you might imagine, there's some very distasteful things being said by a bunch of distasteful, ugly personalities, right?
How many of them are criminally distasteful then? And criminally distasteful would be something like, we're going to go stomp some insert expletive here.
Yeah, but even in that particular case, so I'm on page 32 of the lawsuit here, and they talk about some of the exhortations to violence that they saw on the Discord, including, quote, "I'm ready to crack skulls." Which
that's not this. That's a expression, not a threat.
It's not a direct threat,
right?
It's an expression, and also you have to, in context, these people were expecting to meet violent opposition,
right?
So that's the sort of thing when you say to yourself when you're psyching yourself up for a possible attack, also not just when you're psyching yourself up to attack.
Yep.
So basically, this lawsuit appears to be, these people are distasteful. They're ugly. They say awful things. They've said scary things. They've said awful things. Here's all the examples of all the awful things that we've found that they've said. We want damages. And I just don't think it's going to succeed.
Is that the
It shouldn't.
Well, the thing is, what they're trying to do is say, and they may well succeed, that that the intention was to go there and do violence.
That's what they're alleging here. Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
but they had the permits already, and that contradicts that there was any intent to do violence. It was the police that failed to keep away.
Well, look, even if they can say that somebody did have the intent, because you better believe somebody there wanted to have a fight, right? Like that's almost a sure thing,
well,
including the Antifa.
You can want somebody to hit you, you just can't hit them first.
Correct.
And once they do hit you, you can respond in kind.
And saying you want to get into a fight isn't the same thing as specifically threatening somebody.
Right.
Right. It's again, these people are despicable.
Mm-hmm. But both sides are despicable.
Right. I mean, and who knows what the Antifa people were saying in their Discord forum, right? Like, what awful things they were saying.
Well, I would hope. Well, of course, Cantwell doesn't have a lawyer, but if he did have a lawyer and he was smart, that lawyer would be cultivating sources in Antifa and finding out what they were saying in the Antifa forums
and a countersuit?
saying that. Well, not even in a countersuit, but as defense. When we say we're ready to crack heads, that's because these people were coming with the intent of punching Nazis.
Yeah, maybe in defense of.
Well, that's the only time you have a right to crack heads is in self-defense. So that's pretty much the only way out of that trap.
But
once a head has been cracked.
If there was criminal threatening going on here, then they would bring those people up on charges. If they had enough evidence that so-and-so, Chris Cantwell or some of these other racists, had actually specifically threatened somebody, they'd be brought up on charges. You better believe it.
They already did bring him up on charges. They just failed to prove.
Well, they brought them up on charges based on an actual fight that happened, and they couldn't prove their case in an actual fight.
Right.
But if they had evidence of Chris Cantwell threatening the head of Antifa or whoever it would have been in Charlottesville or whatever, or one of these other defendants, then there wouldn't be a civil case. There'd have been criminal charges brought.
Yep.
So I just don't think this case, again, having not read the entire thing.
And the one part where the white nationalists are right is that if Antifa had said, we're going to stomp Chris Cantwell when we get there, police wouldn't have said boo.
Mm-hmm.
He would not be under charges for that.
So there's a lot of preparation, stuff they're showing here, talking about people concealed carrying and arming up with pepper spray and things like that. I mean, so there's no doubt these guys wanted to fight. They were ready to fight. But this is not, in my opinion, an actionable civil case. Now, I'm not an attorney, but in a country with purported free speech where despicable speech for a long time has been protected by the courts.
Absolutely.
Whether it be the Nazis marching in Skokie, Illinois, way back, or whatever it is we're talking about, people protesting in front of abortion clinics, and so on and so forth, there's been a long protection of freedom of speech. And so I feel bad that these people, had their feelings hurt, but welcome to America. You should be free to say despicable things here. And so I hope this lawsuit is ultimately a failure. But in the meantime, Cantwell's racked up who knows how large of an attorney's bill that he still owes this attorney, I suspect, whatever amount of thousands of dollars.
Welcome to the club, Cantwell.
Or persecution of a new minority.
What good is it living in a free country if you don't live a free life? You're stuck going to a job or a stressful business. You're stuck in a relationship where you're pretty much a slave. That isn't happiness. You were meant for bigger and better things. There's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses, and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. If you want, you can take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. They're open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. Just hop into one of the top 4 rooms there. They're called the on-air call-in lines. We will notice you there. Once we do, we'll join you, and you'll be on the air with us. In the studio tonight, that includes me, Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
As we continue, do want you to know about liberty.menu. That is where you can go to easily connect with other liberty-minded folks and find out what they're doing, like what businesses are run by liberty-minded people, libertarians, voluntarists, liberty-loving anarchists. You can go to liberty.menu if you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Then you belong there at liberty.menu. You can use code FTL and get yourself a special Free Talk Live listener badge because it's a free website. We can't give you a discount. It's free to list the things that you do, whether it's your business or maybe an event that you want to promote. Maybe you've got digital content that you want other people to find out about. Just go to liberty.menu and get started there for free. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, you can bring up what you want. We've been looking briefly at this lawsuit filed against a lot of defendants, including Christopher Cantwell. who has now recently been dropped. Just this week, dropped by his attorney in this particular case. His attorney was the same attorney who represented him in the defense, the criminal defense matter. But this attorney is sick and tired of dealing with Cantwell. He's tired of Cantwell not shutting his mouth.
Well, who isn't these days?
Yeah, and going off, and he's basically saying to the judge, "I want off this case," and presumably the judge is going to grant that motion. So that'll leave Cantwell hanging out there with no legal representation as he's facing civil charges. I don't know if charges are the right word, but a civil case, potential liability that I think the case should be dropped based on what I'm reading here. It's basically people who are mad that the Charlottesville protest happened and that there were ugly, despicable people who were behind it. That's basically what the case is, from what I've seen so far.
Well, the thing is, if he doesn't get his poop in a group sufficiently well to both retain counsel and retain said counsel once retained, he's going to lose the suit. And that's going to be. Well, I mean, I guess it's going to end up being a personal bankruptcy for him, probably.
Is that what would actually happen? I mean, I'm just trying to think here. Like, it's him against a bunch of people, or
there are several attorneys representing other people.
I mean, is that really how? And even if there was no attorney and nobody showed up, would it automatically result in a? Don't they?
Well, if no one shows up,
he would be arguing the case pro se. So I guess that statement was, if he chooses to show up, if nobody shows up, it's a default.
Is it? But is it automatically? Don't they still have to have evidence of some kind?
You got to show up.
It will default. Now, I'm pretty sure that once defaulted, there is recourse where you can. If you show back up and file paperwork with the court, I think there might be a way to reopen such a case.
As long as you've been served.
So here's I've been involved in
most of the time you just lose if you don't show up for a
I'm going to back up a moment because I have been sued before, and my understanding is that they still have to present some sort of evidence in terms of damages, and they have to have something to base that on, okay? Even if you don't ever show up to court.
But the thing is, if you don't show up, then the judge is basically left with a series of unchallenged statements. And the way lawyers write things, they make them sound way more egregious than they are. And if you're not there to say that's not how it played out, then it's going to sound like you're guilty.
Right, I understand.
They know what lies
they still have to have a basis for the judgment that they propose, though, is what I'm trying to say. So, for example, if somebody sues me because I violated their patent, right? They still have to know, for example, how many Wi-Fi cards did I sell that violated that patent? And if they don't have a number, if they don't have evidence of some sort of number, they have nothing to base the judgment on that they're going to propose to the judge.
That's true, but that won't stop them from reaching one, and that could go very badly for you.
If you haven't answered the case, then look, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give legal advice here, and I have no, thank goodness, no real experience in civil cases. I've done a lot of criminal case work as my own defendant or an own attorney or whatever you want to call it, pro se. But as I understand it, if you don't answer a civil case, then the judgment will be likely ruled in the other person's favor, in the filing or the plaintiff's favor, and you lose no matter if they had no case in the first place. So basically, this is a way for them to essentially bankrupt Cantwell and these other people by just having them jump through all these legal hoops, because there's all this crap that you have to do with civil cases, right? There's depositions, there's answers, there's you have to file all these flurries of motions and paperwork, and it's just a huge time sink for these guys. So even if the case ends up getting thrown out, because they have answered it, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Even if the case ends up getting thrown out, they've already spent God knows how many attorney hours just trying to defend themselves against what is ostensibly a lawsuit.
A frivolous case.
It's frivolous.
Yeah. If you have deep pockets, you can destroy somebody just by repeatedly bringing suit against them, even if none of your suits mean anything.
Yep.
You can. The legal system is probably the world's most effective weapon. Maybe we should create a fund where you can donate Bitcoin on the dark web to do that to certain targeted politicians. That would be fun.
Let's go to Fred calling from DC. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Fred.
Yeah, this is Fred Goldstein calling from the law offices of Goldstein and Ponzer. I'm Chris Cantwell. I'm Chris Cantwell's attorney. I heard you guys talking about him. I just wanted to call in and voice my opinion on the subject.
Oh yeah. So wait,
what's your bar number?
What?
What's your bar number? Bar association.
My bar number is 87265K.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right, Mr. Goldstein. Somehow I doubt Chris Cantwell would hire someone with the last name Goldstein, but go ahead with your comments.
When the Nazis marched in Skokie, they did get a Jew.
I'm sorry, you guys both talked over each other.
Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, so Chris Cantwell would totally hire a guy named Goldstein to represent him because he knows that we're going to give him the best representation. He needs a good Jewish lawyer in these sorts of situations, or at least he needed one. But I'll tell you, I dropped that sucker like a hot potato. I couldn't stand the guy. I find myself regularly praying to God for his death, and that's why I had to drop that sucker.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Goldstein, for the call tonight. He was saying sucker, just to be clear. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE as we continue here.
See, I have mixed feelings about Cantwell. It's like watching a tragedy unfold because there was a lot of good in Cantwell, and there probably is a lot of good in Cantwell remaining, but you
can't see it anymore.
He's become completely toxic.
He's got issues, is I think the best I would sum it up as. Big issues.
Big time.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of this pattern may well just be intentional self-destruction because he's not a stupid guy. He knows what happens if your lawyer fires you.
But I think your best point here is that the fact that he can't afford these attorneys is proof that he doesn't have the support that he thought that he was going to have from these supposed white supremacists.
Exactly. The media tricked the left and the right when they played up the white supremacist thing.
Free Talk Live.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? One? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Christopher Cantwell, the so-called crying Nazi, has been dumped by his attorneys in a motion filed with the courts there in Charlottesville, Virginia, regarding a civil case, which ostensibly is probably, frivolous, but that won't stop them from tying up Cantwell and like a dozen defendants in court for God knows how long.
For sure.
And apparently Cantwell has either he's out of money or he just isn't paying his attorney, because his attorney did cite that he has not been paid what Cantwell owes him, so he is done with him. And so we can tell you more. If you want to comment, you're welcome to join us. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. As we continue here, we'll get a little bit more from this story and more of your phone calls and thoughts. Let me just read the final comments here from the Daily Beast article about Cantwell getting dumped. The lawyers argued they had good cause to withdraw as his attorneys, and they added that, quote, Mr. Cantwell has made no effort to pay his outstanding fee invoices. According to, another attorney, I guess, quote, this underscores two critical issues we've been raising. One, these defendants have total disregard for the legal process and rule of law. Two, even their own attorneys are concerned about the defendants' violent threats and see them as totally indefensible, she said. Well, as we found out, that what they said was a threat wasn't actually a threat that Cantwell said about the
this
other
sounds
attorney.
like an excuse by the attorney to get out of the situation and not have anything
is.
to do with the actual thing that was said.
And it is an excuse, and it's a fine excuse. Like, if you tell your client to shut up and he goes on prattling on about the opposing attorney on Telegram, making your life more difficult as because now you got to write more motions or whatever, and it's just you can get rid of you. Quote, what's concerning here is not just Cantwell's own capacity for violence, which we saw firsthand in Charlottesville and elsewhere. These threats are also intended to incite his followers to action. It's that pattern of an extremist leader urging his followers to violence that we've seen at play in so many recent attacks from Pittsburgh to Christchurch.
The crazy thing is they're actually giving him an excuse.
Cantwell?
To call people to violence. Yeah, I mean, by going after him in the first place, both criminally and civilly.
Because he feels
physically
because he's
in the
now
first
being
place. Don't forget
he's
that
being persecuted.
He showed up to have a rally, and a bunch of people showed up to beat him up.
Right. I mean,
I don't agree with him, but that doesn't mean you can beat him up.
This is the exact. It might be that gay people and black people were persecuted in the past and whatever, but now the reverse is happening. We're now persecuting. We're now persecuting the what has become a minority, which is people who are, racist and bigoted and so on.
And to a large extent, also, I think that, Hollywood has very much created an artificial culture, I think, that is far to the left of the way a lot of people really feel. And I think there is I mean, the right and the left do not get treated equally in any part of the system. So, I mean, the right in general is to some extent, I think, victimized. And that's strange to say when
it does seem like that.
When Trump is in office. But at the same time, even I have never
isn't
seen
that why
the
Trump
media
is in office though? I mean, because people feel victimized by the left?
Well that is a lot of
backlash from the people on the right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there was this British leftist news reporter who did this thing about why did Trump win, and he didn't like that Trump won. He hated that Trump won, but he said the reason is because the left decided that calling everybody a racist was enough to win, and that after a while that was the only tool in their chest, and it's not enough to win an election, especially because although there are the Cantwells out there who is actually too racist to support Trump because Trump let his let his daughter marry a Jew. That's a quote. I didn't say that.
I don't know if that's true. Cantwell had a Trump flag in his house.
He did?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, because when I interviewed him on here, he said he basically made his response was pretty disparaging.
Well,
so maybe he's ambivalent.
He might have changed his view in the last 2 years, but during the Trump campaign, he absolutely was full on Trump.
I could see that.
And he'll be full on Trump again in 2020 when, the time comes around, because he'll see Trump as the bastion against the left. So Cantwell's positioning now is that the left is completely evil and that you have to go completely to the racist right in order to oppose the left or something like that. He's full of all kinds of cockamamie nonsense.
Yeah, I mean it's just very false choice.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not Nazis versus commies, it's Nazis versus commies versus freedom, and I think freedom's the best answer there.
I think freedom's the best answer too.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that's so sad about what's happened to Chris Cantwell is that he used to believe in freedom. There was a time when he was just the angry libertarian Chris Cantwell, who was by no means a racist, or at least by no evidence a racist.
He certainly didn't leak if he had a racist streak, he certainly didn't leak it.
Yeah, he became a racist right around the time when we fired him from Free Talk Live, and then from there he spiraled down all the way into total statism.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know, because even when he showed up, he was a proponent of this libertarian brutalism concept.
Yep.
You remember brutalism?
Oh yeah.
And basically the idea that the biggest thing we have to fight against is political correctness, and so that's like proto-Trumpian.
Sure.
That was Trump's first battle. So maybe
he's always been kind of a righty libertarian. I mean, even when he was a libertarian, he just wasn't a racist at that time.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think he was probably racist in his personal opinions.
He never expressed it.
But he didn't make a point of it, and it never crept into his public policy.
I feel like he was always, and I didn't really know him all that much anyway, but to the extent that I interacted with him before he, expressed racism, he always felt to me like he was holding back that, bigotry. And I never
got that
know.
feeling from him, and I spent a lot of time around him and talking to him. He never let slip anything that I ever really considered
right. And
to be...
I don't doubt that. I think you're right. I don't think he ever did actually ever express
the
anything.
IQ issue with me.
Did he?
Years ago.
Oh, interesting.
And well, my response was basically, who cares? Not a good measure, but
yeah. Anyway, 855 450 free. Let's go to Lonel. I don't know if this is spelled correctly. In San Diego, you're on Free Talk Live, watching online. Hello.
Hello.
You're on the air.
All right, thank you. You mind I switch the subject, or you guys want to stay on the same subject?
No, it's your call, man. You can bring up whatever you want.
All right, so I want to bring up the schooling.
Schooling, all right.
All right. So I just graduated out of high school, I'll say a year or two ago.
All right.
And I'm going to school for law school, right? And I wanted to stop by my high school to, just see, my teachers. or whatever before the school year exited. And I have my little brother that still goes to that high school, and I was talking to one of his friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, I wouldn't believe how uneducated this 10th, 11th grader was. I swear it turned me blue.
So you feel as though the educational system has failed the people who are in it, and I would like to hear more. And I don't know if you're on a speakerphone. Are you on a speakerphone right now?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
And how do
I am.
How do I pronounce your name, by the way? I'm just curious.
Romel.
Romel, yeah, they totally butchered it here. Hang on, Romel. We're going to bring it back. We can talk more about it. Stand by. We'll bring it back here in just a moment. 855-450-FREE. That's Romel in San Diego. Disappointed with the government schools results. And I think a lot of people are. Even though there are people out there who swear they got a good education at the government schools. Question is, could they have gotten a much better education if we didn't have a coercive indoctrination system? We can continue with Romel, and your calls are also welcome. You can bring up what you want, just like he did. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with Reputation Defender. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with Reputation Defender. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with Reputation Defender. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Even in these remaining moments, we have enough time for you. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
And we continue. And by the way, I want to say thank you to Loring, who is a Free Talk Live Platinum amplifier. That means Loring is contributing $25 a month to the AMP program, which is way over and above what we ask for. We only ask for $5, but thanks, Loring, for doing $25. That's awesome. You can join the AMP program as Loring has done by going to amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And the idea is we're already on over 200 radio stations across the United States and beyond. We could be on 300. We could be on more than that. It just takes time and it takes money. It takes effort to market the show, and that's what the AMP program is all about. So if you value what we do, because we do it for free, we give you 7 days a week of content free. You can download and watch and share and all that stuff. There's a bunch of great free features on our website, which we give away more for free than the other sites charge you for those other talk show hosts. The big ones, the big ones in the business, they want to charge you $5, $6, $7, $8 a month. Ours is free, but if you like the fact that we provide this show to you and that we do this thing talking about liberty and freedom and cryptocurrency and peace on a nightly basis, then please, it makes a big difference for us when you join the AMP program, which you can use PayPal, you can use credit card, or even Bitcoin BTC at amp.freetalklive.com. And you get some cool perks at ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Ramel is on the line with us here. Ramel, you said you graduated high school a couple of years ago. You went back recently to visit your brother at the same school, and you were struck by how uneducated some of the people that you talked to seemed. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Do you feel like the education quality dropped that drastically between the just 2 years since you'd been out, or is it just now that since you're on the outside, it's easier to notice it?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm saying that the teachers really don't have the passion to teach these kids what the outside life really is.
And what do you mean by that? Like, is it just because they're in this ivory tower of academia and they don't know what the real world is like, that they're sort of cloistered off in this, in the school system, which is nothing like real life? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that just teachers need to be in a more, scared straight, to really show these kids, who might be goofing off during class, to show them, what the real world really is like. And, the stuff that, they're trying to lay down and get in their brains is really, important.
What do you think the real world is like?
I feel like the real world is like filled with fucking
Oh, you can't say that on the radio. We knew that was coming at some point. And, I thought for a moment there he might have been legitimate.
No, I think he was a legit caller. I think he slipped.
I don't think that was a slip.
I
don't think that was a slip.
I suspect not, but
no. Really? I mean, come on. Maybe it is. It's possible. I suppose
possible,
you
but
could be.
I doubt it.
I suppose you could be so young as to not know that when you call a radio show, you're not supposed to say the F word. I mean, I suppose you could be that ignorant and not know that.
Well, the thing is, like, when I grew up, I didn't swear around my parents.
Right.
So I've got a pretty strong suppression circuit.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody didn't grow up that way, and if somebody grew up with parents who cursed a lot, then there might be an issue that they haven't developed the habit of, in certain circumstances, you don't swear.
Yeah, and I could definitely say that I've slipped up a handful of times in places where I wouldn't have expected, because I'm not around people who are going to be
you had to record over
issues.
me at PorkFest.
Sure. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. There's no doubt about it. But when it's a young male caller, and we've already had 2 of them tonight that have said things on the air that you're not supposed to say.
I don't think.
But
I think he did
actually,
slip. I don't think that was the issue.
did
I think
display some intelligence before he said that. I don't know. I think it was an honest mistake.
I'm not gonna.
Maybe you'll call in some other day and we'll find out.
Yeah, if he calls back in and apologizes for it, and then has a good call, then we'll know it was an honest mistake. But I don't expect that to happen. I would bet against it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to David. He's in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, David.
I'm with Ian. I have learned to, I've heard enough of them. One word, literally one word, the first word out of those callers' mouths, I know what's coming, just like Ian, I think, can spot. So,
it's this trend amongst young callers, right? That kind of gives you the hint.
Young males, they just don't have anything better to do. They think it's funny, and they don't. I guess they just don't understand how much of a failure they actually are, because they don't get on the air.
Maybe they're protesting against the FCC. You want to spin it that way?
I don't think that's it.
What the heck?
I don't think
that's it at all.
I don't think it's that intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that one of us would do maybe at that age, but I don't think these particular teenagers are doing it for that reason.
David, what were you calling about tonight?
Politician du jour. Once again, under the heading, FBI says New Mexico's most corrupt state in the nation, and I'm paying them back for trafficking my children illegally. So you remember that judge, senator, chairman of the Judicial Committee, New Mexico, that was arrested for drunk driving a little while back? Anyways, same town as that guy, Espanola, New Mexico, which is kind of the center of that kind of behavior in New Mexico. But if you Google just Espanola, New Mexico, and hit the news button, this comes right up. The next mayor in line after the Las Vegas mayor from last night that was looking at charges, this guy has now got a civil suit. The guy named Richard Lucero, who was a mayor for 22 years off and on from 68 to 2006, abused is being sued civilly with the allegation that he abused his power in this way that meets kind of the stereotypic classic behavior, grooming behavior. He was the mayor, and he invited the 11-year-old son of his city clerk that worked for him to come spend Friday nights with him at his home because it would be easier to get an early start to work on Saturday morning at the feed store, the farm supply store that the mayor owned on Saturday morning. And
hold on, wait. Hold on. Who was going to go work at the feed store? The mayor or the 11-year-old?
The 11-year-old boy.
So just to be clear, the mayor had given this 11-year-old son of the clerk a job at the mayor's feed store, then said, "Hey, why don't you just come spend the night at my house? That way it'll be easier for you to go to work in the morning." Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not only what I'm saying, but all the major press, if you look at it, that's carried nationwide, that's what they're reporting.
And then what happened?
And then all of the classic grooming behavior. The mayor was part of the Boy Scouts, and he also went to the effort of creating an explorers group out of thin air in order to take young boys on trips to Disneyland and Florida and Las Vegas, and he gifted many very nice gifts to the boys. And,
like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, kind of like that. And there's they created in Espanola, New Mexico, the Mayor Richard Lucero Recreation Center, where these activities were centered, and they had good recreation there. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's the latest legal action.
Hold on, what are they alleging that this man did with these boys?
What's the allegation?
Well, it started with foot rubs and ended up with shared showers and doing sexual activity in the shower, which we.
So has he been brought up on? You said it was a civil trial. Has he been brought up on criminal charges?
It's probably a statute of limitations thing on the criminal thing, and so the the plaintiff is filing a civil lawsuit, which apparently is still within.
And who is the plaintiff?
legal
Is it one
bounds.
of the alleged victims or their family, or who's the plaintiff?
The victim, the victim himself, one particular kid, the kid that was 11 at the time when it started.
And what's the mayor doing now? Is he like completely retired, or does he still have a job in politics?
I don't think he's currently the mayor. He's I think he's just running his feed stores, the farm supply, which actually that farm supply, Heath White, the sheriff of Torrance County, New Mexico, they also had a feed store that he used to fence guns and such like that. That he bought
I think you called about that before. You know, one of the things you have to ask yourself in a situation like this is how many people knew what this mayor was doing at the time, and how many people protected the mayor.
Right.
Did the sheriff know?
Here's another good, interesting thing. The part of the guy filing the suit says that the mayor had told him that if he told anybody what was going on, that his mother would get fired from her city job. Was another one of the allegations.
Yeah, thanks for the call, David. Horrifying story, but thank you for sharing it. Definitely appreciate it. More on the corruption that just never ends with child molester politicians. I suspect that's just the tip of the iceberg. We'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.
The latest episode of Questioning Authority is next.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,415. Silver at $16.42, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,924. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Attorney General William Barr on Thursday announced the federal government will resume capital punishment after a 16-year-long de facto moratorium within the Department of Justice, in sharp contrast to the national trend of phasing out the death penalty on the state level. Currently, only 25 states have the death penalty on the books, and only 8 carried out executions last year. The Mind Unleashed reports that Barr instructed the Bureau of Prisons on Thursday to schedule the executions of 5 death row inmates, and the U.S. Department of Justice has already announced the names of the first inmates they intend to kill. According to the announcement, the 5 people have been convicted of murdering, and in some cases torturing and raping, the most vulnerable in our society, children and the elderly. That's a quote. The executions will take place at the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. Prior to the 16-year-long moratorium, the federal government carried out only 3 executions after the death penalty was reinstated in 1988. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Details released Wednesday night indicate that Jeffrey Epstein was found injured inside his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan while awaiting trial to face child sex trafficking charges. The millionaire financier was semi-conscious with marks on his neck and in the fetal position on the floor of his cell when he was found sometime within the last 2 days. Activist Post reports that investigators remain unclear as to what actually happened, and a number of different theories are being considered, including the possibility that it was a suicide attempt or a stunt to get himself transferred to a more isolated unit. Assault has not been ruled out in the case, and it's been suggested that one of his cellmates could have attacked him. Regardless of the circumstances, authorities have put Epstein on suicide watch. He was taken to a nearby undisclosed hospital after he was found and is reportedly in stable condition. Medical marijuana is fast gaining credibility as a valid pain relief treatment, with data from various studies attesting to the medical and health benefits of cannabis as a viable alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. The Mind Unleashed reports that researchers have now uncovered a new reason why. The cannabis plant produces pain-relieving molecules that are 30 times more potent at reducing inflammation than aspirin. What makes the discovery so groundbreaking is that it could carve a new path to natural pain relief medications that would save patients who suffer chronic pain from the risk of addiction associated with opioid-based painkillers. According to the team of researchers, they found out how the 2 important molecules, canflavin A and canflavin B, were produced through a combination of genomics and biochemistry. The 2 canflavins were identified in 1985 when scientists proved they had benefits which could fight inflammation at a gram-for-gram rate of about 30 times that of aspirin. However, prohibitionist laws in Canada prevented further research into the potent anti-inflammatory qualities of the molecules. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
From the day an ancient cave dweller painted yet another f***ing elk hunt on a wall in 15,000 BC, to Gary Marshall's 1974 discovery of 13 weather-beaten North Dakotan coal miners that would go on to become the cast of Happy Days, The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On June 17, 1954, the effects of the previous month's historic Supreme Court ruling in Brown v.